Audio checking. Audio checking. 1, 2.
Audio checking 1, 2, 3.
Are you going to be talking like that when we're speaking?
Hi everyone, welcome to WOW, Woes of Womanhood. Today we have an exciting talk track.
We have an exciting talk track to present to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
We have a really exciting topic to talk about, and it is managing corporate politics.
This is our 3rd episode in the Corporate Rizz series. We've already talked about interviewing. We've already talked about promotions. And now we're going to be talking about navigating
corporate politics. So in corporate America, it's very challenging to navigate politics. Why? Because America is very diverse and we have different personalities. We have people from different backgrounds. We have people with different values, all clumped up into one team trying to work together. However, people don't want to work. Okay, and there is a very strategic chess game that's at play to climb that corporate ladder. And it's not just about how good you are with your frickin' Excel. It's not about how good you are public speaking. Well, 80% it is, but it's not about anything other than being We're talking about the silent rule book that no one talks about in the corporate environment. There's these unwritten rules. When you're early in career, you don't know what's happening. You're like a little bushy-tailed squirrel, like, oh, I'm like just gonna do my best. And that's great. That's part of the chess pieces.
Right. You maybe play into that. Why is understanding corporate politics important? Well, it is extremely critical because this is how, as Mao said, you're playing the chess game. Which parts are you moving to get all the way to the end and checkmate?
And win the game.
Be in your bag. Be in your bag. Win that game.
And then you restart the game with your pawns at that point.
And your rules.
And you are
you're the leader.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're going to feed into that cycle of corporate politics because at the core, it does not change. Nothing changes. Every corporate setting is the same thing. It's just different chess pieces.
And you cannot refuse to play the game. So
you must play the game.
You can't opt out. You must learn the rules.
Olga here is the extreme queen at corporate politics and manipulating, and I would love for her to share her top tips, spicy ones too, to become that queen chess piece. How do you do this?
Disclaimer, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I have been in the corporate world since I was literally 16 years old. So I think I've gotten a lot of exposure and been at obviously a bunch of different levels up until senior manager level and seen some ish. To this day, I'm in rooms with executives and I'm talking to boards and I'm talking to a lot of important people, and I wouldn't be able to get to the point I'm at today without knowing the path. That being said, I'm happy to share all my spicy tips with all of you. Some of these may be common knowledge. Some of them may be, maybe a hot take. I don't know if you would agree, but this is my approach and what has worked for me in the past. Okay, I have my post-it notes with all of my scribbled notes on it. Let me just also say, Mel has an interesting experience because my perspective is from the US-based system. US-based systems are very
manipulative and scandalous.
I would say they're twofold. Partially merit-based, other partially relationship-based.
I just think the US is just optics.
I disagree. You do have to do well at your job. Visibility is important, critical.
Yeah, show up.
But you need to be good at your job. Some people can get away with not being good, but eventually you will be found out. Mao started her career in Japan, and I think Japan has a very different system. These tactics would not actually work as well in Japan.
Because it looks conniving and it's not true hard work.
It is not blatant. People don't understand what you're doing. It's not blatant.
Everyone knows that everyone's playing the game, Melody. What's the meta of this that everyone freaking knows?
The reason why I'm saying Japan is different is because they don't care if you do a great job. They don't care if you're hardworking. It is very much by seniority. And
I forgot about that.
More about hardworking. Oh, wow, you forgot about your own culture. I'm speaking from the US perspective. I do not have international experience. However, I'm aware that things work differently in different countries. So first one is never talk bad about others. You have to navigate this slightly because I also think there is an element of building relationships with people and building trust through shared corporate tea. That being said, be careful who you slander and do not say anything actually like blatantly bad. Like you can say the truth, but like don't say anything actually bad that could be seen as like you're talking behind someone's back. The reason being, it often does come back around to them and you just don't want to be seen in that light that you're talking bad about people. However, when you hear other people talking bad about other people, keep your ears open, girl. Keep your ear, or guy, keep your ears open.
If you're a manager and you have underlings, do not talk about them.
Underlings, not the underlings.
And also, you don't want to be heard talking about your boss. You know, when you're growing up and you never hear your mom talk about your dad in front of you, it's kind of like that.
That was almost a great story, honestly, but I think you could have expanded a little bit. So moral of the story, don't talk bad about people. However, don't always just be talking good about people. It's a fine balance. You need to tread lightly, because also sometimes it's a little bit give and take. Like if you are giving a little bit, not in talking bad about people, but if you're giving a little bit about like maybe information that you know, stuff like that, people will also give, and that is important, and I will get to that. Tip number 2, build alliances and advocates with people outside of your team. Reason being, especially if they're executives or higher ups, reason being is because you never know who's advocating for you behind closed doors, and there may be opportunities where a brand new role opens up and someone says, oh, I think this person would be great for this role. Or if you're up for promotion and you've already built a relationship with your skip level or an adjacent skip level, they're all friends. Like they talk to each other, they're hanging out all the time. So if you just have another person, even if they're casually talking, be like, oh, I would really love to promote Mao. She's been doing great work. And if someone else from an outside group is like, oh yeah, Mao is stellar, she helped out our team, or I've seen that she's been doing great work, having that affirmation just helps make that push forward even easier. And you'd really be surprised what relationships that you build can help you out along the way. I had built a relationship through a mentorship program at my company with someone who was on the talent team. I was like, okay, I don't know how great it's going to be because they don't really know product marketing. What can they really provide me? But I invested in that relationship. I was curious about learning about their job, and it ended up that they actually helped me out a lot in the promotion process and giving me insight into, you know, what's happening and what I can ask for and things like that. Always build relationships, keep an open mind. I think in general, just being friendly and good with everyone is a good idea. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's very important that you are talking and diversifying the different alliances you're making. That's not just your team.
So exactly what I just said. Okay, next one. This is actually, I think, a philosophy in, what is it, the 48 Laws of Power or something, but it's never outshine your manager. I also think this is very true. And additionally, you always want to make your manager look good. Reason being is you want to be the person that your manager loves, that you make your manager's life easier, you make them look good, all that jazz. If your manager is toxic, this could be maybe a little bit of a different story. Good managers honestly lift their employees up and they're not really threatened by that. But if you have like a toxic manager, be very careful, because they can get threatened and think that you're going to take their job, or you're going to like be wanted for a position that maybe they would want. So it can get a little bit toxic situation. So the more you can do to make their life easier, it's going to make their process of like getting you promoted also easier.
Why would you ever outshine your master? Like, I don't understand.
Okay, Miss Japanese. What if you're just better than them and your manager's incompetent?
You're supposed to act like they are competent, not like you are incompetent. You're supposed to uplift them.
Just like imagine a situation though where you go into a company, your manager is severely incompetent and you're like clearly more competent than them, and they can get triggered.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, just act
like
they are very competent.
They're very competent.
Yes.
Yeah. Great advice. Next one. Understand who has power and what their incentives are. So this is something I learned actually formally in my recent company by one of my VPs. He was great at understanding organizational structures. When I was younger, I was like, org chart, who cares? Like, I don't care what you do. Like, I'm just in my lane. No. You need to understand the org charts, especially around your group. Who's the manager? Who's the skip level? Who has power to make decisions and what they truly care about. This is kind of like a strategic back thing of like the chess to like help you know what your next move is. It's just good because if you're trying to influence people for, you know, certain projects or activities that you're trying to do, you know what relationships that you need to build and maybe what relationships aren't as important. Even in prioritization, you want to have your peers back, but ultimately, you will prioritize something that your VP cares about over maybe you can delay something that you owe to your peer. Prioritization wise, know who you can kind of push off a little bit, not ignore, but like push off a little bit and it'll be okay, and who you should prioritize. Comments?
No comments.
Okay.
No comments. Next.
So next one is credit others. I think this also ties well into the visibility piece, so I'll say them in tandem. Visibility piece, be visible, not loud. There's a difference in being obnoxiosaurus rex and talking all about your projects and like being the yap person. Obviously, advocate for yourself, but there are ways to do this in a sly manner that aren't like, look at this project I just did, like, can someone give me a gold star type of energy. Strategically, you want to be advocating for yourself. And what is a way to do this? You want to acknowledge other people's wins. It's a double win because you're actually praising them and giving them credit. I mean, I think that's always good. That's definitely a quality of a leader, is recognizing others and uplifting others. It's never like a competition, right? You want to give, and in giving, you will also receive eventually. At the same time, if you worked on a project and you go, I want to give a huge thanks to this team for helping contribute to da-da-da-da, it sends the signal that, first of all, you were the leader of bringing this whole project together and like working with all these different people, which is a win on your end. And you're acknowledging them. So people are like, oh my gosh, they're like such a great leader. Gives you visibility. It gives other people praise. And it also reflects good on you at the end of the day.
I think Melody knows this game way too well that I can't even add anything, you know? It's just she explains the story from A through Z, puts in a few tips, a key highlight moments and sound bites of currently what she's doing. And I'm just like, okay.
I guess I'm a chess grandmaster. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Next one. This is going back to the relationship building piece, is asking casual questions. As you're going about the office, you want to get the corporate tea. There's always corporate tea. If you're not in tune about the corporate tea, just know, like, don't be naive and think nothing's happening. There's always something happening. There's always something to be known. Maybe the information won't feel valuable in that moment, but maybe in the future, it'll be helpful knowing that context. What do I mean by that? If you're, having conversations with your peers, be like, oh, how is this new person on the team? How is working on this project been? Like, what are some of the challenges you're running into if you're close like that? Or just like speak about what they're working on and get visibility into all of that. Because I think beyond just getting information from them, I think having that context, and then the more questions you ask other teams, you get more context. And maybe you're going to be the only person to put X, Y, and Z together. You present an idea of like, oh, I know this team's working on this is working on this, maybe there's an opportunity here. You're going to sound like a wizard. God,
a wizard?
How are you so brilliant?
I have a good example of this. One of my ex-coworkers, she was doing something completely different than me. But then one day I decided to check in on like, oh, what are you working on? She told me that the team that she's working on this project with is super slow at responding. They're just not good at deadlines or timelines. So it was really difficult to just get a hold of them. So I was like, oh, interesting information. A few months out, I get a project with that team that she was talking about. So then when I approached that team, I made sure that we kept it very tight on communication, on weekly cadences of meeting them and making sure these milestones were met. And honestly, it went very smoothly and I was very happy with that process. All right, next tip.
So I think that flows into my next one. That's a bit more of a tactical tip, but this is talking about if you're working on a big project. For example, in marketing, let's say we have a big launch and we're trying to align on messaging. It's very hard to get alignment, especially across executives and things like that. A way to make sure you are getting alignment across everyone is by getting buy-in along the way. This is like extreme amount of work, but it's sometimes necessary, is before you have this big call where you're presenting an idea, you actually want to take your idea to individual members who will be at that meeting, and you want to get some little like champions and people like validating you. So when you go into that big meeting, basically everyone's already aligned. It's just like having everyone understand that everyone's aligned. So let's say I'm working on marketing messaging. I want this big call to be like, let's sign off on this messaging, right? Before that big call where everyone comes, I do not want this to be the first time everyone's hearing about this. I want to bring in each person who is contributing, or at least one like representative person from each area, and say, hey, I'm working on this messaging. We have a kickoff call. I would love your feedback. So you're essentially soliciting feedback from them earlier on, and you get them involved in the process to where it seems like they now have a stake in the game. Like, oh, I've contributed to this. So they actually want it to win when you get to that final meeting because they actually gave feedback and like contributed. So then they feel an element of ownership in that project, and it'll help you push along forward. It is a pro tip that you want to build those relationships with people and do a little bit of the extra work beforehand so you get to the big yes earlier.
I thought that was a great tip, Melody.
Thanks, Mel. We've gotten to our final tip of the day.
Finally.
And that is go to happy hour. Happy hours and these like team gatherings, even though you maybe don't want to do them, go to a majority of them because first of all, that sharing of the corporate tea often happens at those happy hours. 2, the relationship building and understanding people, their incentives, what they're working on, those casual conversations also happens at happy hour. Don't deny the power of a good happy hour. Someone has a few drinks in them, they be talking. Some people are yappers. Also, maybe don't drink that much. 1 drink, 2 drinks, maybe 3. No more than 3.
I agree. I think it's very important to keep professional, at least for the happy hour portion, and then after that you can go real drinking with your coworkers.
Sure. Mal was like, for the corporate happy hour, it's like, but then like after you can get as up as you want. Excuse me? I'm like, no, I would not be doing that ever, but you can go out as friends, but I wouldn't go out under the realm of like we are coworkers going out.
I totally agree. I think that's keeping it clean and professional. And honestly, if you're even drinking 3 drinks, just keep it to like half a glass of wine. Half a glass. And just have something in your hand. That's it. Like, you don't need to be drinking.
I mean, I think it goes back to your personal brand and your self-image. Just be mindful of that. That's all I'm saying.
But also don't not participate.
Don't not participate. It's so hard. All of these things, like there's such a fine line. You need to learn the delicate balance between that, because it's like, don't get too drunk, but then like you should drink because everyone's drinking. And if you don't drink, then they feel like they can't trust you because you're like, why are you not drinking? I'm drinking and I'm in a vulnerable place.
And I also realize that a lot of the younger generation don't drink anymore, and they don't want to spend their extra additional off hours with coworkers. I totally get that. But to play this game, you gotta be with the dinosaurs, the fossil fuels, because you know why? They hold the biggest energy.
Oh, period! That was the best part! That was the best part of the video. Good job, Mao. What Mao said, I think mic drop. Thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of the Corporate Rizz series.
Thank you,
You now are
everyone.
educated. Let us know what else you want to know, what else we should talk about in the realm of the corporate Rizzling. And we'll talk to you not next Thursday, but the Thursday after that.
Bye, Earthlings.